Oh, Call of Duty. Talking about, I thought we just meant. Anyway, you know the swatter guy that swatted someone and the guy got shot by the
Guy
cops?
died. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was just sentenced to 20 to 25 years in prison.
Good.
Yes.
Oh,
As a
yeah.
quick recap for people who don't know this story, two people were arguing online, right? One of them's name was Swatistic, something close to that. And the person that Swatistic was arguing with said, like, I think, come fight me, something like that. And he gave him a fake address. So then there's another person having nothing to do with any of this, probably not even a gamer. The police come to his house. He's like, what's all the ruckus out here? And the cops shot him. That guy that died, nothing to do with any of this. He's just the fake address that the person gave to Swatistic. Turns out Swatistic had swatted dozens of times. Like he was sometimes a couple times a day. He swatted the FBI. The FCC. The FCC, they got rid of net neutrality or whatever. So he's calling up the police, getting the SWAT team over to the FCC because he's going to make a difference or something. Now he's in jail.
He was a serial swatter.
He was.
Well, his name, I just imagine this in court. Your Honor, why don't you have the defendant tell you what his online username is? Yeah, Mr. Michaels, please stand up first, please. What was your online username? Swatistic.
Yes.
Could you speak up? Could you speak up, please? Swatistic. Swatistic, the swatting Swatterson.
Yeah. And I think there was a recording of him either bragging about it or doing it or something like that. So he was just dead to nuts.
It's not funny. It's not funny. It's not a joke. You're sending deadly force. Funny. Look, send somebody a pizza that's unpaid for. It's annoying as fuck to them, and you've wasted that poor pizza man's time, and money, and the money, right? Because those guys have to pay for their own fuel and stuff like that. It's pretty crappy. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the night, the pizza guy gets to eat the pizza, and
nobody's dying,
and nobody's dying, right? But you send a fucking SWAT team, like a SWAT team could kill the guy, but what if there's someone else who needs that SWAT team that night? What if there's an actual hostage crisis somewhere that's not getting handled because you sent the Apex SWAT team over to Mr. Woody's house or whatever? Meanwhile, there's some evil mustache twiddling evildoer somewhere with a bunch of like doctors tied up in a bank vault or something like that.
There's probably a bunch
bizarre
of
scenario.
On, like, SWAT teams now who they know this is so prolific that like their mindset is almost changed when responding to calls that they don't think are truly serious. Like they may go, oh, it's out in this suburb, nothing bad happens there ever, some asshole sending us to a streamer's house, and then they show up and someone actually is murdering their family. Like,
I hope it's part of the training now, right? So when I was swatted, swatting was new, right? I wasn't the first person ever swatted, but I was towards the leading edge of that.
You were in the vanguard.
I was really quite the big deal. Anyway, I didn't even figure out that it was swatting until like my family and I were outside sitting on the curb. It was like, I know what happened. I've heard of this before. And the police hadn't. When I explained to them that I was like an online personality and that this is a thing that happens, especially in the gaming space, they're like, what? Like it's just a hoax prank? And it took them a little bit to realize that I wasn't behind it. They're like, you do this? Like, no. This happens to people like me. Very different thing. And now I just hope that these SWAT teams are allowing for the possibility that it's all a prank.
I don't know. I bet they aren't. I wish there was some kind of an advocacy group, or that's not the right term. I wish there was someone who was like getting the word out, because they have these big international meetups of SWAT teams in Florida. I've been to them. And you go and it's like all the best SWAT teams from everywhere. Like Brazil sends a SWAT team, but all the states and cities send them, and there's dozens of these.
They've all got in the Reno 911 movie. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, where they go there. Yeah.
I've been there. I've been there and seen them compete and everything, and like it's the SWAT like convention basically. They're competing live while you watch them like amongst all of the SWAT gear that's also being sold like to civilians and everyone alike. Someone needs to be down there with a booth that's like raising awareness, like explaining what swatting is. I'd
like to do that. I've got it in my head. Like I did a VidCon. I did a panel at VidCon before. It's like, I'd like to do a panel at SWAT Central or whatever they call themselves.
The SWAT Roundup.
The
That's what it's
SWAT
called.
Roundup. All right. SWAT.
That can be the title on your booth. Am I the kind of man who would murder my family? Question mark.
Right?
They'll be curious.
They should
They'll
call
come over and
themselves
they'll
like
ask.
SWATtastica, right? It's just close enough. But to fantastic,
Swatastica?
fantastic and SWATtastica? No, just me.
Sounds
Okay.
a lot like swastika to me.
Ah, random coincidence.
You know what? It's time to take it back. For the
Yeah.
poor guy in 1936
Well, I'd love to
who
do a
got what he
panel.
thought was a cool Buddhist tattoo. That's what we
I
take
was-
it back for.